Your ultimate ability, or ult, is an extremely important tool that I see players misuse in my ranked games all the time. Whether it's ulting from a position that exposes them to the enemy, using it at the wrong time during the match, using it at the wrong time during the round, or just not using it at all. Give your ult more respect and you'll find more value in it than you thought. In this video, I will go over 5 tips to improve your ult and hopefully win more games. Let's get into it. Timing is everything. One of the most important aspects of using your ult is using it at the right time. You want to avoid using it too early and too late. What do I mean by this? Let's say you're on defense as Killjoy. Your teammate tells you that they hear enemies outside of A site. You think, okay, it's time to use my ult to prevent them from coming to site. You ult, the team sees it coming and decides to rotate. You could use your ult like this, but there's still a lot of time left in the round and the enemy team can also decide to re-hit the site you just ulted. This doesn't generate a whole lot of value for your team because the enemy probably has most of their utility left over. Now, if you wait to ult for the retake, it changes things a bit. You could use your ult after the enemy takes the site and uses up a good chunk of their abilities. Here, you would want to use your ult after the spike is planted. Communicate with your teammates that you have your ult and use it when you're about to retake the site. You are now using your ult as a way to keep the enemy team away from the bomb while your team defuses. As long as your teammates help by smoking the right choke points and using their abilities correctly, defusing the spike will be much easier. On the other hand, you want to avoid waiting too long to ult. A quick example of this would be a hero play where you try to Phoenix ult into a 1v4 only to get killed twice. Another late ult may be using Hunter's Fury on the bomb diffuser too long after they started defusing, or if you are the last remaining player and the enemy team has 2 left. If you play too close to the bomb, the enemy will know where you are and kill you while you're mid ult. And if you're too far, you may kill one diffuser, but now you're out of ult and too far away to kill the second diffuser. Sova's ult is heavily reliant on timing. Timing is number 1, but if there's an appropriate spot for number 2, I think it would be where you ult from. You have the timing down and you're proficient at using your ult. Depending on which ult you're using, considering where the ult is placed can be just as important as the timing of it. Let's say you're on Astra and your team is about to hit a site and you time your wall perfectly so your teammates can take the site. One problem: you ulted too far into the choke points, allowing enemies to peek through your wall and get a pick. Placing your wall in a better position that blocks off as much of the site as possible while giving your teammates the best chance of planting is what you should aim for. Another example of this would be where you place Omen's ult. Are you using his ult for information? Then you may want to ult on one of the sites. Are you trying to TP to spawn to pull your enemies away from the site your team's hitting? These are the questions you should ask before using your ult. Awareness or game sense can also go a long way in how effective your ult can be. As a general rule, the longer period of time you don't know where an enemy is, the more aware you need to be. In a post-plant situation, you're playing Sova and you want to use your ult to kill the diffuser. You're aware that your timing needs to be on point and you know where to ult from to stay safe and to be close enough to challenge the enemy after you ult. The next thing to think about is, can I be flanked? Where will they most likely peek me from on a flank, and how long has it been since I've received info on the agent? Making sure you're aware of all these things can give you an upper hand and prevent you from dying while using your ult. Another example of this would be Breach's Rolling Thunder. Rolling Thunder is generally used as a way to execute a site take while concussing and displacing the enemy team. This ult requires everything we've talked about so far. Using the ult right before your team enters site, knowing where on site your enemy could be playing based on previous round behavior or any info your teammates gained from their ability usage, and now your awareness. You should also know what areas of the site your ult affects and doesn't affect, so you can use utility in those areas to further confirm an enemy is there or not. Rolling Thunder's effect lasts 6 seconds. Having this information in the back of your mind is crucial when timing your site takes. In summary, awareness takes a combination of practice and experience. You can study your ults and abilities to a T, but without the experience of using them in a real game, you may not have as much success. Game sense and awareness won't come overnight. It may take time, but it's one of the most valuable skills you can learn in Valorant. Now, something that may seem obvious but not everyone makes use of is ult combinations. There are quite a few ult combinations that yield some powerful results. Next time you start a game, look at what agents are on your team and the enemy team. You can determine what ult combinations may be viable on your team and what you should watch out for on the enemy's team. An example of a strong combination on attack would be taking Sight with Skye's ult and using another ult in congruence with her Seekers. Using Phoenix's ult to follow the Seekers is a great way to maximize your ult value while taking the least amount of risk. Something that may be higher risk but equal in reward is combining Breach's Rolling Thunder with Raze's Showstopper. Not every Raze knows how to double satchel jump, but I promise with a little practice you can do it too. If you want to learn some spots to take advantage of this mechanic, check out the video in the top right corner. Speaking of ults that take a bit of practice, this brings us to the next tip: practice.
Practice?
If you want to be proficient in using an agent's ult that requires better aim or mechanical skill or movement, then the best way to improve is practicing. A couple great ways to do this is to head into a custom lobby on each map, or even Spike Rush, where the games are shorter but give you more opportunities to use your ult compared to a normal game. If you're practicing Chamber's ult, it operates a little differently than a normal op. Take him into the practice range and get a feel for it. Using jet knives, same thing. Practice updrafting while hitting your targets in the practice range, and I guarantee you'll be more comfortable when it comes time to use them in a real game. To bring all of this together, the more value your ult can generate of your team, the more you can open up a round and potentially turn the tide of a game. That value comes from everything we went over so far: timing, where you ult, awareness, combos, and practice. Keep practicing these concepts and I know it will come in handy in your future games. Alright, that about sums up 5 tips to improve your ults. Hit that good looking sub button, drop a like, let me know in the comments why your tips are better than my tips, and have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.